This is how the new update will change mages forever. Disclaimer, majority of these topics are going to be my opinion as well, so keep your pessimistic ego aside. All right, stay tuned at the end of the video because I'll teach you guys something that might make or break your archer setups. Don't forget to subscribe, or honestly, I will actually steal your copy. Let's start off with the new update that were dropped by the admins. Key features that I want to cover is, firstly, you can now apply attributes to any non-crimson items. Bro, honestly, that's like fucking huge, bro. This change itself is gonna be the most broken thing ever in Hypixel Skyblock history, in my opinion, right? There were some misconceptions when this update was actually released. If the update does release, I really thought that, you know, you could actually just put on different attributes willy-nilly, right? You just put it on whatever you want, but I don't think that's the case. Thinking it further, they only added the feature so that you could test the functionality to allow players to test out attributes just to see if it's balanced or not, right? Thank God, because honestly, I was scared because recently I just bought myself a full God Royal Crimson armor. So this is still in the air though, because if it's not balanced, then they're probably gonna just cut this update once and for all, for real, because it's like, if it's really not, but they better, honestly, because it'll make everything so much fun. Main reason why they want to add this update is because the majority of the non-crimson items were content locked behind powerful mage gear, such as the Midas staff or the Hyperion, because not a lot of people can go into the Crimson Isles with probably a Shadow Assassin and a Vivid Dagger, unless you're cracked as fuck. I don't even know how you guys will even do it, dude. So they wanted to see whether or not, if attributes were applied, if it would affect the balance of the game or not. All right, if it were helping the Crimson players, the early Crimson players, get into their content and be able to do whatever they want, I feel like that is when they will be like, you know what, this is a good update, let's send it out. So with that being said, let's look at the mage counterpart real quick, which is the archer. If you guys haven't seen the recent patch notes that they released on Thursday at 11 a.m., they fixed the overload enchantment not working with several items and armor sets. All right, that probably hit under everybody's radar. Previously, before this update, overload was considerably broken in a good way, meaning it wasn't functioning as it was supposed to do, and it was a good thing before. Now let's look at how overload actually works, right? Increase the crit damage by 1 to 5% and crit chance by 1 to 5%. Having a chance to grant 100 crit to perform a mega crit. Before the recent patch notes, overload was actually bugged because if you had 101 crit chance, it was considered to have 150 with overload, which allows you to proc the ability even better. Now they fixed it, so now it functions the way it's supposed to function. So now you need even more crit chance to even use the ability of overload. You guys probably didn't know that, but honestly, if you guys see that you're dealing even less damage that you were supposed to be doing, is because the overload enchantment was patched, and now low-key fortuitous reforge will be probably better than warrior magic power. With that being said, using a terminator while having the crit debuff, you probably need more accessories. You have to change your reforge, and on top of all that, you have to get your pets, you have gear, and all of that jumbo wombo to actually deal really good optimal DPS when you are being an archer. But wait, there's more. So you know how that the Terminator has three arrows that are shooting out of the bow? Well, overload only before the update, it only worked for 1 arrow. Now it works for 3. So get your crit up. You'll be doing like even way more DPS than ever. So honestly, it's like a buff if you're rich. I just want to get that through because that is somewhat nerfing the archer in the game. Now let's get back into our mage topic. The main reason why mages are going to change the game forever is that you no longer need a Terminator to deal as much damage to bosses anymore. It allows a huge room for this whole meta to change. Different gear sets, right? Different ways people can path up to progression. And of course, Terminator is also much needed if you don't know how to play mage. If you don't know how to survive, of course, you know, a Terminator is going to be a really viable way because it's like the safest way to progress. But now if you want to be a mage non, right? Just don't really mess up Party Finder, please, because damn, Party Finder kind of goofy right now. So as long as people don't always have to stick with 2 classes, which are Berserker and Archers, mainly when they're trying to progress through the dungeons. The topic I'm going to be discussing right now is going to be the hugest update that I've ever seen right now, as of right now, right? So in dungeons, Mage Beam is now affected by attack speed. Think about it, bro. What the fuck? Hitbox of mobs when using the Mage Beam has been slightly increased. Mage Beam range has been extended further for M7 Dragonfire. Like, wow, honestly, like, this is actually freaking huge if you actually do think about it. So imagine this: 100% attack speed, dealing damage out of the wazoo without having any debuffs, bro. On top of all that, bro, it's bigger and longer. right? Bigger and longer, meaning bigger as in bigger hitboxes so you're not inclined to miss, and of course longer, whereas you can deal damage from a distance so you can be safe. Like, bro, this is the Mage update, even though they wanted for mages to not be the, I don't know. Leave a comment down below what you think about the new update, because I honestly really love it. I just pray that you're not just going to be like throwing out your attributes right into whatever armor you want, you know. So honestly, one flip item, Wheel of Fates, I don't know, maybe all armor will have a random attribute that you might need to swap, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to the PV of the video. If you guys want to be featured for my next PV, please leave a comment like this. Hyper Guy said, hey Echo, I face many difficulties in F7, especially with the problem of not knowing what class to play. Lack of gear, facing difficulties in terminal route, and with other party finder. With M1, I can do clear fine as Arch solo run, but in boss fight, I take too much damage and end up dying. Right, so for the class to play, I see that your Catacombs level 30 right now, right? 30 is actually pretty good baseline to start. I'm assuming you do not have yourself a Hyperion just yet. You just have a Midas Staff, right? Party finder is going to be very difficult the higher Catacombs you play without the Hyperion, because people won't accept you if you do not have a hype. So I would recommend just starting your own parties, right? Putting it at Cata 32, of course, the highest levels you can, because the higher the floor, the better people know that, oh, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. So I would recommend just playing as a regular archer and just play F7s with your own party that you make, as well as try to make as much friends as you can possibly make, so you guys can constantly keep playing together. So for the armor, for the weapon, so you're going to be using, I would recommend you could probably sell your Midas Staff if you're not using it for anything else except for dungeons. For accessories, you are kind of lacking a little bit, because for F7s, I would recommend a minimum of 600 magical power, so you can basically, as an archer, deal as much DPS to Necron, Goldor, etc. For the difficulty in terminal routes, what I would recommend is just start watching other people play F7s or M7s, right? You just gotta constantly just absorb what the other people are doing, the high level people are doing, and see how they're playing with their Bonzo, how they're playing with their Jerry Machine Gun, how they can move around like so, right? Because for that, actually, it takes a lot of skill, not skill, but it takes a lot of muscle memory to know when to jump, how to jump, where to go, where to start, etc. For your gear set, this is actually probably decently okay, but I would recommend try to get yourself a black belt. If you guys do not know what black belt does, it just basically gives you a 6% defense buff, right? You'll take damage 6% less, which is really huge if you do actually think about it. If you do not want to play an archer, I would recommend you can also play a tank. So honestly, you could play as a tank, make your own parties, play as a tank or as an archer, right? We use a Necron helmet. If you do not have it, a golden one. You don't have to put Legion or anything because it doesn't really matter that much, but I would just say just do it like that. As well as for your armor, I see that you have Wisdom 5. As a archer or a berserk or anything that uses Juju Bow, please do not put Wisdom, because it really does not help you. In dungeons, base intelligence will already help you with your AOTE, getting secrets, etc, right? So you could just change all your gear into Legion, I would recommend. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend start playing M1s, just because it's good, decent XP, but it's not as much XP as if you were going to play F7s, as well as F7s can get you a lot of money to help you progress throughout your game. For your pets, I see that you do not have a DPS pet. You do have a blue well pet, which is amazing. You can start playing tank. If you ever have the chance to archer or berserk, make sure you have yourself a wither skeleton, because wither skeleton is only 4 million each, 4 million coins, and it's really cheap, and it's the best pet for regular F7s at the most basic entry level. You can of course then upgrade it to tiger or griffin pet, and then upgrade it to E-drag to G-drag. I also see that you're maxed out mining. Bro, mine your heart away, because you could basically start, you even have a Devon set too, bro. Mine the hell out of mining and get yourself some money to play dungeons. But for me, I would recommend, if you want to take an alternative route for money making method, and if you want to get into really high end game, I would recommend playing mining till you can get yourself a Kudra set armor, because Kudra armor isn't really that necessary. Then play Kudra for a little bit, make as much money as you can make in Kudra, and then move on to dungeons if you want to take an alternative route to try to get endgame with dungeons. Other than that, that, I hope what I said really helped you, and I hope for the rest of the people it helped you as well. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the video if you guys haven't already. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned all the way to the end of the video. Wow, you guys are absolutely amazing. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.